Another reason I disagree with this motion is because the electoral management system needs to enable citizens to express their will. Has our electoral system truly stood the test of time? Kriegler told us that the conduct of the electoral process in 2007 was hampered by the electoral environment, which was polluted especially by the political parties and the media. So I ask, have we managed to cure the ills that brought us to the electoral violence of 2007? When you look at successive reports in 2013 and again in 2017, and when you look at the decisions that the courts were forced to make after the elections, you can see that whereas we have made some progress, there are still material deficiencies in our elections. In 2013, AFRICOG published that the elections were materially defective and compromised by electoral violence. And this remains a feature of life that undermines our electoral integrity. In fact, AFRICOG went on to say, the IEBC has been unable to demonstrate its independence, giving rise to the perception of a commission under the thumb of the executive. The Carter Center in 2017 also lamented the lack of independence and talked about the role of violence, harsh attacks by political leaders on the judiciary as undermining the independence and rule of law required for a fair democratic process. The EU, which is one of the more conservative observer groups, also lamented the fact, talking about deep-rooted structural issues of exclusion which undermine our elections. So my core argument is saying that these factors continue to undermine the ability of Kenyans to express themselves fully through the vote. We are then told by Adams Olor and George Omondi that voters' decisions are driven by self-interest. Indeed, they are. Individual aspirations as well, and relationships of trust, and that all these factors come together to influence how one votes. They then remind us that the extent to which land and property concerns have not been resolved in this country. Ethnic identity and proximity is equated with proximity to power and resources, and the extent to which security and safety concerns have not been resolved, and there are other overriding issues such as political propaganda, technology, fake news, and information bubbles, the extent to which these continue to play, this undermines the ability of the voter to vote effectively because our democratic system is broken. In fact, I'll quote them, the violent struggle over scarce resources and power against a backdrop of institutional failure has contributed to the consolidation of ethnic identity for survival and sustenance over a democratic culture. I'll end by saying that in Kenya, we are facing a long drawn-out democratic transition where the interests of the political elite continue to resist the full and effective implementation of the Constitution. And Wanyande, writing in 2013, tells us patrimonial interests still dominate political leadership. Indeed, patrimony has come to dominate all aspects of civic life. So my argument is, because our electoral system is not functioning optimally, and because these patrimonial interests have spilled into our everyday life, whereby if I want to get my child into school, I may have to bribe. If I want to get treatment into a hospital, I may need to get some, if I want to get medicine, I need to know somebody. Our culture of governance is undermined by patrimonial interests, and this is part of the continuing democratic struggle. We need to diagnose our problem correctly so that we can apply the correct remedies and in fact not blame the victim, who is the voter, and instead deal with the political culture that we need to change as part of our continuing transformation. Thank you very much.